We're proud to present Seller Sessions live in London, where we'll be flying in some of the world's most advanced Amazon educators. The event will be held at the prestigious David Game Keynote Theatre. Alongside myself will be Evelyn Demirov, who is known for breaking lots of trends on Amazon, Anthony Lee, one of the early innovators of the blast ranking method and published author. We'll also be flying in show favourites Liran Hirschkorn and Paul Harvey. Over the coming weeks, we'll be announcing more speakers and content. So, if you want to join in the fun with other super smart Amazon sellers and brands, then visit sellersessions.com/live and grab super early bird tickets before they go to full admission. We'd like to say a big thank you to all of our media partners, which include GS1 UK, Web Retailer, River Cleaner, Sixleaf, Orange Click and Amazing Freedom. We look forward to seeing you all in London on June 1st. Hey guys, welcome back to Seller Sessions. As you heard from the intro, we've just announced our first Seller Sessions live in London. Firstly though, we've just hit 200 episodes, which is obviously a great milestone for Richard and I. But actually only a few weeks ago we were pulled from the iTunes store and was offline for a week. It's a bit like being suspended on Amazon, I suppose, but it's all that waiting and wondering, etc. And wondering if you're ever going to get back onto the platform. But lucky enough, I still have some good friends in the music industry, and so we're able to resolve with a direct contact inside there and some help with the Apple support team. So what happens, we found out we had incorrect metadata in our feed, which is the same feed that was submitted and accepted on day one before we even published and gone live. So, but yeah, so happy to still be around to tell the tale, if you like, but that would have been very disappointing with all the work that we've done to get Seller Sessions where it is today, you know. Not many people see Richard. They'll see him at the live event, but he's one of the backbones of Seller Sessions, so I'm not here to take credit all for myself. So yeah, he's working hard in the background. But anyways, I want to say thank you very much for being a listener and thanking you guys for sending us emails with regards to feedback on the show. The most common feedback that we get is people like the fact that we put the content front and center, or the guest front and center with the content, and that we just get on with it. I feel, and same for Richard as when I think I get this from the audience as well, is that if you are serious about business, you don't like your time being wasted, and your time is precious, and I respect my time, and of course I respect yours. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to stop rambling now and give you some actual content. I mentioned this a while back, I think it's around Christmas time, and it was pertaining to sourcing locally. So basically last year I started with sourcing products with the focus being on the UK, and I gave myself a target of doing everything. Every part of piece of the puzzle would be sourced and manufactured in the UK. Obviously there's always that get out clause where you can have it assembled in China, but you know, or you can have part of the elements in the UK but your packaging comes from China, but you can still say it's a UK product. But I set my target for that. Why did I do that? Well, I wanted to do something where I can speed up the timelines, and I'll get into the other reasons why a bit later, but it's easier to see people face to face, agree terms and stuff. So when you're sourcing local, and I'm going to put in here the US and the UK, but I'm focused here on the UK, it's not like Alibaba. 9 times out of 10, the people are not interested or sloppy when it comes to doing business. It can be really infuriating when you can go onto Alibaba or you can go to China and people are game, they're ready to do business and they take it seriously. But over here, it's like you have to do a merry dance to get anywhere. And in some cases, they despise Amazon. They see it as a big beast. So they don't like to do business to take away from all the mum and pup stores and stuff like that. So you do have your work cut out, and the sourcing process for this fell through many a times, but I was very persistent with it. So first thing you need to do with a local search is you're going to do it all on Google. And then what you want to do is you want to be able to exact match search terms, including the product name, and then use a series of keywords for these searches, one after the other. So you'd use such and such, manufacturer, supplier, private labels, etc. Yeah? The next thing you want to do is you want to be able to create a bill of materials. So you want to break down. So for instance, let's just say you're doing a topical product. You want to find your own packaging supplier, the people, if it comes in bottles, it comes in tins, it comes in boxes. You want to go and find all of those suppliers independently and build up what's called a bill of materials. So you have a breakdown of each item. So from that breakdown, you can put it together what you consider a guesstimate in the spreadsheet of all these different components. And then you can reverse engineer this to compare this to the supplier prices. This is where you're going to make your margin, because if someone's going to put this together for you, they're going to mark this up, maybe 20, 30, 40%, just depends on what there is to play with. So what happens, that starts to eat away at any of your margin if you want to sell a product on Amazon and being competitive with those that are flying in for different territories where, you know, they've got bigger opportunities in terms of infrastructure like China, and obviously the labor costs are greatly reduced dependent on the market. So one trick that really stands out for me, and I don't know of many people doing this, is that, let's give you an example. I want you to get some bottles. So when I go to a manufacturer and ask for bottles, they want to say, yep, that's not a problem, but you need to do 60,000. And it's like, you're never going to do 60,000 bottles on the first run. Okay. One thing that you can do when you're speaking to manufacturers that do have, say, an MOQ of 60,000, say, is you can ask for their list of third-party suppliers. And then you want to cross-reference that all sell, you know, if they sell the same bottles. Because the idea is you need to have a few backup options here. So you want to be able to negotiate with each of these suppliers. So you want to also make sure they are the exact models, because as I said, if they're giving you a list of their suppliers that they're supplying to, and they're like subdividing these units down and sending them out to, I don't know, 20, 30 suppliers, it takes a bit of time to weed your way through this. You want to make sure that one of the suppliers doesn't run out, or that you may need to run from 2 or 3 suppliers because they are short on supply, and you don't want to get caught out because you need, I don't know, 2,000 or 3,000 bottles, but you're getting 1,000 from one, 500 from another, and 500 from another. You want to make sure that their pricing's quite close. You also need to build in then the extra delivery costs, and they would differ from one party to another. So the good news with doing all this stuff again in the UK, let's say you nailed all this down, then you'd be able to dispatch these, say, bottles within 24 hours to get them over to your supplier. So again, having a few lined up means you should avoid running out of stock, and then it doesn't leaving you to have to source from China. Would it be cheaper in China? Probably, but then you've got logistical costs and everything else. You've got inspections, all these different things that come into play. So you have to understand is that you're trying to make clever moves here, but also at the same time, by doing it locally, there are benefits. Therefore, you eat the costs. And as long as you're profitable, that's what that's what matters at the end of the day. Business is about making a profit. Okay, in terms of 3PL, what you want to do is the factory that you'll find over here to do the manufacturing, see if they would act as your 3PL. Like one of my factories here, they act as a 3PL, so they everything's boxed off, and then I've got it all there in stock. Yeah, so I'll get to the stage now, especially leading up to Q4. You get as much done as you need to, and then you have it on the shelf. So this would also save money on moving your stock around from one place to another, because that increases the cost. So yeah, you know, there are options out there. You can get your manufacturer to hold on to this stuff, and they could act as the assembly line. You know, you might want to do some searches. If they don't do that and your product's got to be sent out to be boxed, do some searches for free issuing, co-packing, co-packaging, or product assembly. They're some of the keywords that you would do a search for. The other thing is, if you're in a gated category like beauty, for instance, please be aware that Amazon now calls the supplier. It takes about 7 days. But one thing that you can do in the ungating process is, instead of ungating as a private labeler or a manufacturer, you could ungate as a supplier, so that basically you're selling products wholesale. Quite often when you're dealing with a supplier over in the UK, they have their own commerce store as well, and they'll sell their own products within the similar brands, similar vertical to you. So there's nothing stopping you from buying a load of their products, and then listing them for sale on Amazon, get the commercial invoice and everything sorted, present that to Amazon, and when Amazon calls, they say, yeah, they bought all this stock here, etc., etc. So that's one way of going through the ungating process as well. But it is manually done, because when I spoke to my supplier, they walked me through the whole conversation. Okay, so this is a tip here, but it'll be product dependent, right? See if you can get a really good 3D artist to make up your packaging. In terms of, obviously you've got the flat file designs, but if you're doing things like perfume, the chances are you can get away with it. If you're doing transparent products or clear products, it's very difficult. But what you can do is, with a really good 3D artist, it will save you on the photography element. So there's a few key points here. So you could use like a magic image service. So the first stage would be, you'd get a 3D artist to do your bottle, say, and your packaging. So you've got that on your PNG file, transparent background. And then what you would do is you would use like a magic service that they're very good at using Photoshop and integrating images that way. So you can use a service like that for infographics, annotations. You can do it for your lifestyle images, and with the lifestyle images you can use royalty-free images where they're superimposed. Now you can get really good ones of this, but there's also lots of shitty ones on Fiverr. So what you don't want to do is find a shitty 3D guy with poor rendering output that makes your product looks really crappy. It's got to be decent, and you can get a decent 3D artist for this kind of work from anywhere from $150 to $250. Now I know this is against terms of service, but believe me, if you've got the right types of products to do this with, and you've got a great 3D artist, you can't tell the difference. It's very, very difficult to tell the difference. So if you imagine a customer looking at glimpsing for the first time, they don't have that product sitting on their windowsill and comparing it to the 3D image, they wouldn't be able to tell the difference. Now the other benefits that you could look at from doing it localized is cash flow wise, right? So if Amazon pays you every 2 weeks and you've built a relationship over time with your suppliers, over a period of time, if you've gone and seen them face to face, there's a good chance you can etch out a deal where you do 30 days or 60 days net. So effectively you can arrange deals for all your supply chain and considerably reduce your issues with cash flow. So hope you found that helpful. Obviously we'll be back again soon. Thank you for sticking with us for the last 200 episodes. If you've enjoyed what we do and you do find some time, or you live local, or you want to fly in, don't forget to head over to sellersessions.com/live and grab yourself some tickets for Seller Sessions Live in London on June 1st. Take care, and thank you for your support.